What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Art of Suffering podcast with Dalton Darnell. Today we have a guest. This is Chris, and I don't know Chris from Adam. Haven't met Chris. We visited on Instagram a little bit, and he's going to come on and share his story, his testimony a little bit, and talk about life lessons and what he's learned from them, and hopefully they can help you down the road a little bit. Chris, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, no problem, man. Good morning.
Good morning. So just to open her up, a little scheduling snafu here. I did not ask Chris what time zone he was in, so he got the call a little earlier than expected this morning. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry.
It's all good. We get some coffee going and getting my eyes opened up, so we'll roll with it.
That's right. So Chris, tell everybody where you're from, kind of where you grew up, and start there.
Okay, so I'm in California, Central Valley, California. Pretty much grew up out here. Lived back in Bentonville, around Bentonville, Bryant, Arkansas. When I was a young kid, we moved back there for about a year, and back there a short time, but it was pretty cool, you know. But most of my life been here in California, a little bit of Nevada.
Okay.
But
so what do you what's it like growing up in California, man? So we down here where I'm from, we hear all the horror stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't watch the news. So what's it actually like?
So where I'm from in the Central Valley, right? So I'm smack dab in the middle of Bakersfield and Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
We're more like Oklahoma or something than we are California.
Okay.
You know, when you look at our Central Valley, we're all farming, agriculture. I mean, I'm a mechanic. I've drove truck, Class A. Not everybody out here is a bunch of surfers and people that just like in LA or San Francisco, like that's here. It's just all man. I'm blue collar. Like I got the whole. That's what we are right here in the Central Valley.
Yeah. Does that make it tough with such a swing of opinion, or is it just kind of you numb to it now?
You definitely know you're walking amongst enemies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you kind of take it easy on throwing your opinion around sometimes, because you get blindsided. Somebody that you would see and go, oh man, they have exactly the same outlook I do, and then they have the opposite. It does. It's a little tough sometimes, but I've kind of learned here recently to just tone everything down anyways. I mean, you can have your opinion about whatever it is it's about, but just tone it down, I try to be as respectful to everybody that I can. Growing up, I was taught the golden rule, right? You treat people how you want to be treated, whether they're on the same belief system as you, or they have the same political views you do. Treat everybody how you want to be treated, and it usually turns out okay.
Yeah.
There's that small little percentage of times where it don't turn out okay, but most of the time it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason I ask, it's funny, I posted this video, man, it was probably 2-3 weeks ago now. And I'm talking about when if you and your spouse are married and one of you becomes a believer and the other one doesn't yet, right? So let's say Christ gets a hold of your heart and starts changing you, right? And there's all these things in your life that are going to start changing, that God's going to start kind of cranking on you about this stuff. And basically what I said in the video is the worst thing I found you could do is condemn a fella. Is walk in the house and just be like, turn that freaking music off, turn the movies off when you're not watching it, right? Like, it's the ultimate turn off for somebody away from God. And I believe my role and responsibilities are within me. Like, I need to take care of myself, my heart, my sin, so to speak, and then love people. And through that heart change, God changes the people around us. And it's the golden rule, right? It's the golden
Yeah.
rule. Treat people how you want to be treated. Just don't be an a-hole, man. Like, just,
Yeah.
if you love folks, you're gonna their heart will change if they experience Jesus. Anyway, that's curious to me, because I've always been like, I would really like to go to California, and I have some friends that cowboy out there and that sort of deal. And but there's parts of California I probably don't need to drift down into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're probably right. Around here, you'd be pretty safe. There's a lot of cowboy type folks around here. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where I'm from, right up above, there's Springville Rodeo. We have the Wood Lake Rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad idea. There's a lot of rodeos around. Um, but I mean, not really my thing. Growing up, we went and watched them and stuff like that. It was part of right upside the hill, but
Mm-hmm.
um, it's here. This is the part of California that is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's cool, man. That's awesome. It's funny to me. Like, I know a lot. I've traveled a lot doing what I do, and it's like a different planet over there.
Yeah,
Like when you get past Kansas, it's like a different. You're like, is this the same country that I was just in? And so a lot of people that I know down here are like, man, I would love to go to Wyoming or Montana or whatever. And I've been fortunate enough to go and work in these places, and it's just unbelievable the difference between where I live now and the places that I've worked out there. It's pretty crazy. Which if you lived in Arkansas for a bit, it's similar. Like, the tree tunnel that you drive in down here, it's like this.
hmm
It's like an interstate and then just
yeah.
trees. It's like you get out there, it ain't like that.
Well, where I was in Arkansas, I was a little kid, but the only thing I remember, I remember a lot, but there was turtles and snakes everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking you would be driving to town and you could not drive to town without running over a turtle or a snake.
Yeah.
It was they were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and I remember in the wintertime it was ice, and in the summertime you couldn't breathe because it was so hot.
Yes. Yes. There's
So
too much water in the air down here, dude. We're like fish. We
yeah,
just pretty much we're swimming when we're walking.
like out
Um,
here we have swamp coolers. Back there, you guys don't have swamp coolers.
no, 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 no,
You
no.
know?
No, we don't need no swamp cooler.
Yeah,
No, we don't want none of that.
yeah,
We need the opposite of that. We need
yeah.
something that sucks the water out of the air. Oh, that's cool. So how long have you been driving a truck?
Well, I don't drive truck anymore. I did it for a couple years. I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it made me fat. I sat behind the wheel of that truck and I drove and drove and drove for hours and hours and hours. I did it for a couple years, but my main gig, I've been a mechanic most all of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, my dad had a classic car lot,
Okay.
and my dad was a wheeler dealer, horse trader type guy. So I've always been around cars, always
Mm-hmm.
been interested in them, and I think I've been, probably professionally, I've been a mechanic for 25 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and but I bounced around. I jumped out and I went to welding school, got a bunch of welding certificates and stuff, and then I got a job with a large scale steel building manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
So I welded for a couple years. Uh, I was always searching for something.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really find what was gonna put me where I needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Have you found that?
yeah, man, I like to think that I have now that I started walking with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It put me at ease a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, everybody wants to make the most money they can make with the smallest amount of work that you put into it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of the American dream: a lot of money, a little bit of work.
Yes.
I don't know that I found that yet because I still
No,
work
me
my ass
neither.
off.
Me
I,
neither.
I still work my ass off. I mean, I drive tow truck. I work at a body shop. I do body work. I drive tow truck. I do mechanical work. I mean, I everything that's there, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the whole driving truck thing was just an opportunity at a moment to jump out and try to figure something else out.
Mm-hmm.
But
What do you like about mechanicking? Because I'm going to be honest with you, buddy. There's few things on earth I hate more than getting under that thing. I just can't. I hate it. I did it in the military. That's what I was in the military. Gosh dang it, man. Every day I went, I was like, dude, this thing's going to be broke. And it's like, here's the thing, dude. Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. This is what makes me mad about mechanicking. Okay. When you're putting something back in and it ain't working, but it's supposed to work. You know what I'm saying? But it
yeah,
ain't working. It's the most frustrating thing on earth to me. It's like, this is supposed to go here. Like, this is where it goes. These are the bolts. Because in the military, they give you a freaking iPad that tells you exactly what to do. You know, it's like,
yeah.
I know it goes right here. And hang on, my dog is clowning in here. Come on, Bill. What are you doing? There we go. Um, but dadgummit, man, like when you put, like, I can remember there's this part of the aircraft called a JFS, JSF, something like that. Anyway, it's what starts the darn thing, and you had to
Okay.
take it out at every 300 hour inspection. Then when you go to put it back in, you take it out fine. You pop the bolts out, it fall right out. You inspect it. When you went to put that sunbuck back in, and it weighs like freaking 80 pounds, you know, so you're down there holding it and some fellas trying to get the bolts back in it and they will not go, man. And I don't know. I didn't have the patience, I guess. But what do you like about mechanicking?
You know, I hear you. I don't know how many times, how many different situations, and we have a program too. It's called All Data, and
Mm,
All Data you can go and you can look up, and it'll tell you step by step how to pull. Like you're pulling a diagnostic module out of a airbag, system or something.
mm-hmm.
It'll tell you step by step. But I'm not real good with computers, but I'm okay. And every once in a while, you just go step by step, and then all of a sudden there's something in the car that ain't even. Everybody thinks mechanics, we just know everything about cars. Do
Right.
you do you realize how many cars are on the road right now, and how many cars come out every single year?
Mm-hmm.
We can't keep all that stuff in our brains.
No.
Like I've pushed out. Like I had to remember how to work on a carburetor. It's been so long, and I've had. It's like you have to dump files to upload more files.
Yeah.
But no, I like working on the older stuff.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when I was a kid and I loved cars. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
still love cars. Don't get me wrong, but you ever heard that old verbiage that the shoemaker's children go without shoes or something like that? Like,
Yes. Facts. Yes.
man, I my truck has needed brakes for probably 7 months, and I'm like, it's sitting in the driveway right now. And haven't put brakes on the dang thing. Um, I I like working on the old stuff where I can I can make my vision come out because we do a lot of hot rods too where I'm from, and we build some pretty cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm allowed, excuse me, when I'm allowed to let my vision come out of what I
Mm-hmm.
want it to look like or something, that's what I get into. You
So it's
know,
more of a creative thing.
yeah, probably these days. These
Yeah.
days, I mean. But I was always people think that all mechanics are the same too. When you say you're a mechanic, they go, "Oh, well, my transmission's acting up."
Yeah.
I go, no, 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 no transmissions.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
if you get a mechanic that works on transmissions too, you got yourself like a little unicorn. You
Yes.
know, transmissions have lots of springs and things. When you open it up, they go boing, they're
Yeah.
gone.
Uh-uh.
Now, so I always did what they call heavy line. You
Okay.
pull you pull the transmission out, pull the engine out, scatter the engine, completely tear a car all the way apart, every nut and bolt off of it, and put it back together, type of deal. That's what I'm good at because I can hyper like tunnel vision kind of
Mm-hmm.
guy. You know,
Yeah.
I can focus. But I like that it lets me work with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the type of guy to sit at a computer and work or in a cubicle. Like I would go insane.
Yeah.
You know, I can look out the bay door and I can see the sun shining, and I can stand up, work with all my tools.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
There's a give me half a second. This squeaky toy is about to steal my serenity.
No problem. Well, since you're doing that, I'm gonna re up on the coffee.
That'll do. Got us a new puppy.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, he's been good for the kids. They it's been good. I told myself I would never get another dog, but then I was like, man, I kind of want one. And then the boys and my son, this is a funny story. We can segue here to something else, but my son, man, he's a real skittish cat. Like he's kind of fearful. And that guy, man, this dog, he doesn't bite you, but you know, the puppy deal where he's just playing and mouthing and so he'll get my kid all jazzed up, and I've been working with him on like just getting a hold of that sucker. You know what I mean? Like not being, you can be a little scared, but then you jump down there and get that ear, you know, and take charge of him. So the other night I tell him, I'm like, hey man, hey, get that dog, go put him in his kennel. Let's go to bed, you know? And the dog's wanting to play and he's growling and barking, and he probably only weighs, you know, 6 pounds right now. And, Wiley goes down there to get him and he's growling at him and jumping at him, you know, just playing. And so Wiley, without saying anything to me, and this normally takes quite a bit of coaxing for the guy, without saying anything to me, he jumps up on the couch, takes his glasses off, and hits like a hard flex, like he's like jacking himself up. And he jumped off that dadgum couch and jumped on that dog and got him by the nape of the neck and was just like bear hugging this thing. And he was like, quick, Dad, get the door, I got him, get the door. And he's crying the whole time because he's terrified. You know, he doesn't want the dog to bite him. And it was just a really cool little moment. So with all that, with that story in mind, do you are you married? You got kids, or what's that part of your life looking like?
So I've got a 17-year-old son. I was married. I was married for 6 years. Divorced now. Been divorced for about 10.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I have a 17-year-old son, and he's in there asleep right now, getting his beauty sleep. When he gets up, we're gonna do some yard work and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so I live in a little town called Porterville,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, we're right in the middle of the Central Valley between Bakersfield and Fresno. I have a fiance now. She lives in Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
I live here. We're about 60 miles apart, and we usually see each other on the weekends, Monday through Friday. She's got a 14-year-old daughter. I have a 17-year-old son. She
Mm-hmm.
does her thing there, holds her house down. I do my thing here, hold my house down. And then on the weekends we meet up and we, you know, have our relationship on the weekends.
Yeah.
I've always been kind of a needy, clingy type of person. Not clingy, but I've always needed a somebody around.
Mm-hmm.
Because growing up, it was just me and my dad for so long. Even though, I mean, it's a whole. When once we get into this, it's going to be real hard to understand because of the way everything worked out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the family tree got really weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these days it's me and my son here at my house, my fiance and her daughter at her house about 60 miles away. Um, my son's mom lives in the same town, and he visits her every once in a while. But I have custody of him, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to, which at this age, at 17, a boy needs his dad.
Yeah,
Like
no,
like
facts.
I'm a firm believer that for probably the first 5, 8 years, maybe even 10 years, a boy or girl needs their mama. Like
Mm-hmm.
the mama is the one that gives them all the loving, gives them all the compassion and stuff like that. And then once you get like 10 and up, the father is the one that has to crack the whip and give them those hard lessons that a mama really ain't set up to give.
100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I listen to a lot of Jocko Willink, and kind of his philosophy is he treats his kids 2 years older than they are.
Yeah.
And I've done that with my oldest. My youngest now, I he's 2.5, and I don't have a lot of expectations for a 2-year-old. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
but Wiley's getting into that age where he's getting into that age where he needs some of that, those uncomfortable situations to have to work through, and they all need to be age appropriate. But like, I mean, 17 years old, you're talking about, we're looking at manhood here. We're
Oh
looking at
yeah.
man on the cusp of
Oh
being what
yeah.
you need to be,
Yeah.
not necessarily work wise, but like integrity wise, honesty wise,
Yeah.
understanding cause and effect and consequences of our actions, and what we can do to, uh,
Yes,
make a
sir.
difference in the world. So, well, take me back a little bit, to your, let me, 1 second. This is going to be new, doing a podcast.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll run with it.
Luckily, I have a good video editor.
That's good.
So all this will get cut out.
Cool.
Okay, so let's go back down to the family tree thing. So let's start there and see how we got to where we are, and kind of walk us through that deal.
All right. So going way back to the beginning, my biological mom and my dad. Uh, my mom's name was Kathy. My dad's name is Wayne. And growing up, they fought. I mean, they were, from the time I was a little boy to probably, I was still a little boy when they split up. But it was, oh man, it was probably like first grade when they split up finally. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember them fighting, and so I have a brother too. That same mom, same dad, and found out I have a bunch of other siblings that I never knew about. But growing up, I remember them fighting. I mean, it was my dad. My dad cheated on my mom, uh, treated her like real crap. And my mom, she'd work 2, 3 jobs just to keep us going. And my dad, like I said, he was a horse trader and stuff. So he would get some harebrained scheme and he would just blow all like the rent money. He sold my mom's car a couple times, and she come home and there's no car, and she's like, where's my car? And he's like, well, I got this though, I mean, so
No,
anyways,
no,
it,
dude,
it
don't do
was,
that.
yeah, it was all bad there for a long time. But so that's my dad and my mom. We lived in a town called Farmersville. And growing up there, the house we lived in was my grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
and my grandpa had passed away, and he had left the house to me. I was a little baby. He had left the house to me. Well, when my grandma was on her deathbed, my dad got her to sign over the house and everything to him. Obviously, it couldn't go to me. I was a little kid anyways. But so took the house, put a mortgage out on it after my grandma passed away or whatever, and ended up losing the house. So we moved from Farmersville to Visalia.
Mm-hmm.
So Visalia, we were there for a little while, and I'm talking my mom and dad, dude. If you seen them fight, it was like World War III every single time. I mean, I'm talking pictures getting thrown across the house.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean, real bad. So at some point, my dad decided he was going to rip off some people for some stuff that he shouldn't have ripped off from them. And we hightailed it, got this idea. My mom's family lived in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
So we left Visalia in a like a 1974 Dodge pickup that was barely running, and we left from California and drove all the way to Arkansas
Mm-hmm.
with my mom and my dad in the front seat, and then it was a like an extended cab. And so it had my little brother, which was like 1 or 2 years old, in the back seat, and me in the back seat. Well, we get out to a town in the desert called Needles, California. It's on the border between Arizona and California.
Mm-hmm.
And this truck breaks down out in the desert. It's like 110 degrees out there, and that's the one part I remember. We made it all the way back to Arkansas. Long story short, because this will take way more than the podcast has. But so we get back to Arkansas, and the fighting don't stop. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real bad problem. So my mom is working two jobs. So she's working a job during the day. She's working a job graveyard at night at a like a convenience store on one of the big highways. And my dad still fooling around, still doing all the stuff that'd drive a woman crazy. And in the middle of thing, I don't know if you remember. So I'm 40, but when I was a kid, they had these things called mini thins, and they were in a little like fold, and they sold them like at the counter of stores and stuff. And it was like a little powder, and it was supposed to like keep you awake. It was like caffeine or something like that, but they were called mini thins. It was basically legal speed back in the mid 90s, early
Mm-hmm.
90s. And so my mom was taking these things to stay awake because she was working graveyard as a cashier at a gas station, and then she was working during the days at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a history of mental illness in the family. So no sleep, all the crazy drama with her and my dad, then taking this legal speed that nobody knew about back in the day because, they just put stuff out on the market not even knowing what it did. Well, so she had a mental break. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night with the cops around me and stuff, and my mom was saying that the FBI was down the street, and um, just real bad stuff.
Yeah.
And I watched my mom break my dad's ankle with a garden hoe.
God, dog.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, bad, bad, bad. I mean, and he deserved every bit of it. Don't get me wrong, he deserved every bit of it, but I don't think a kid should see that stuff.
No. I mean, that's the ultimate question for like when I sit down with Jesus and um stand by. This is my wife. Dadgummit. The Barry Bickford. Um, that I have decided for myself that I choose not to try to wrap my brain around God in like the decisions that he makes, or the things that he allows. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
because I don't understand it. And that's something that'll get a fella real good and pissed, especially a guy like you that experienced these things. You'd be like, man, why? What the why? You know?
Yeah.
And the only way I've found for myself to get by that is just to say, well, God is God and I am a teeny human that doesn't understand. Because and all of this happened to you before you were what, six?
Yeah.
First grade?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it continued on in different ways. That and see, back in Arkansas is where, yeah, it's so back in Arkansas, it split from my mom and my dad being together. So once everything really cracked off real hard down there, my dad made this decision that he was going to grab me and leave my brother with my mom, and we were going to get on a train and come back to California. So my mom didn't even know what was going on. She wakes up, I mean, I'm young, right? So my dad's telling me all these stories that your mom's crazy. She lost her mind. She doesn't love you anymore. We have to go. And I'm like, well, what about brother? You know, what about brother? We're leaving brother. And oh, no, he's going to stay with her. And I'm like, well, why don't we all go? You know, you
Mm-hmm.
don't get that as a kid. Um, and at that time, like my dad was godless. My dad, God was not in our family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, hold on. I don't want to piss him off. He was there watching, but my dad didn't teach it. My dad wasn't a
For sure.
godly man. My dad wasn't a godly man. Um, so we come back out to California, and then it was just like for my dad, it was just party time all the time. You know,
So y'all just dipped? Y'all just
yeah,
left?
yeah.
What?
Yeah. And so it went I never saw my mom again. So from the time we came back to California until I was a freshman in high school, I never saw my brother again. I never saw my mom again. But I had heard like through family and stuff like that, that she wasn't doing real well, and I'd heard they came back out to California at some point. And then her and my little brother were homeless on the street. And so we'll fast forward, I'm a freshman in high school, and they come and get me in class one day, and they say, you know, you're Christopher Rutledge. Yeah, yeah. Okay, your dad's Wayne Rutledge. Yeah. Your mom is Kathy. Yeah. They say, okay, well, we have your brother. And this was law enforcement. So my mom and my brother were living on the streets, and the CPS out here, Child Protective Services, they had taken my brother from my mom because they were homeless. So then they give my brother to me and my dad. That's how they got a hold of us, was they found me in school. That's how far my dad didn't like my dad never held a job where you get a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, you would get cash or something. He was like that backdoor type guy. Um, so that's how we got my brother back, you know, in like
What?
99.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This sounds like a movie. I'm
Dude, I'm
not
telling
kidding.
you. And I mean, I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff, by the way, but it would literally take hours and hours and hours.
Okay, so you're 14, 15 years old. Your
Yeah.
brother's how old now when he comes
Uh,
back to you?
so my brother was born in 91. I was born in 84. He's 7 years younger than me. So he was 7.
What?
Yeah.
And so
And
what's hit like when they show up with him, what's he say? What's he like?
he he's real quiet, real different than me. I've always been very outspoken, very, you know, like everybody was my friend because I was always put in situations where like I was always around older people. All my
Mm-hmm.
dad, I call them my uncles. They were all my dad's buddies and his horse trading partners. And there was a few of them that were really good folks. and they made sure at times that I didn't know, I was a kid, but they made sure I ate, you know. But he was very reserved, very cut off, very damaged, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
And I didn't really see it because I had done this. I just, man, I was really good at just blocking a lot of stuff out, you know. So we he came home with us, and my dad just saw it as another opportunity for a check. You know, I mean, around that same time, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and my dad saw that as a check.
God
You
dang
know,
it, son.
dude, it's you talk about a guy that could run a game on some people. He could sell a popsicle to an Eskimo. Like it just it, if he would have used it for good, we'd have been living in a mansion and been billionaires. But the guy was just all messed up. And little backstory on him. So the story was he was given away in a bar when he was a baby. We don't even know that my last name is our actual last name, which it's probably not, because there's a whole, like, we went on Ancestry and I was running down. I'm actually supposed to be a Ward, not a Rutledge, but my dad was given away in a bar when he was a baby.
What?
Yeah.
God, no
And then,
wonder he's screwed up. No
and then
wonder.
then when he was 15, he got a girl pregnant, and that's where my older brother James was born. Well, when James was born, my dad was 15. My dad just split. He's like, that's not my kid. You know, I'm not. No, I'm 15. No, that's not my kid. Looked identical to my dad. James looked more like my dad than any of us do.
What in
Um,
the world?
dude, I'm telling you. And so,
My gosh. Okay, so we're a freshman in high school. Did you
yeah,
play sports or anything, or you're just working to try to eat?
I got it. I didn't really have a chance to play any sports, but I wasn't a ball sports type of guy. I was into BMX. I was into, skateboarding and BMX and stuff like that. Um, I
Straight
wasn't really into.
California, baby. That's it
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
I did a little
That's
skateboarding back in the day, dude. It's fun.
yeah,
I got pretty good, really, until I got a car. Once I got a car, I was like, all right, I got new wheels, you know. But
yeah,
I got to where I could do a 360 flip, which
yeah.
that's a hard trick, you know. That's cool. So yeah, that makes more sense because like in listening to the story, it's like there ain't no time for ball practice if you got to go to work and eat. So you're
No,
working.
yeah. Oh yeah. I was when I was 16. At summertime, I got a hold of this guy who owned a shop, and I told him, I said, man, I can work on cars. And he's looking at me, he's like, you're 16 years old. And I'm like, yeah, I can work on cars. Well, he gave me a job sweeping and mopping and dumping the trash and throwing all the parts in the scrap bin and stuff like that. And that's what I did. Well, after working for him for a few weeks, I told him, I said, Jack, I can work on cars, man. I can work on cars. And he this old, if you know anything, there was a Cadillac Eldorado that had a North Star V8 in it, and the starter was underneath the intake manifold. Stupidest design I've ever seen. And he says, okay, you can work on cars. He said, put this starter in this Cadillac. He says, I'll leave you alone. Put this starter in this Cadillac. And I'm looking for the starter. I don't know where it's at. Normally a starter's underneath the car, off the side of the transmission, where to the bell housing. And I'm like, man, I can't find this starter. And he goes, well, it's under the intake manifold. So I said, okay, it's got to take the intake manifold off. That's all I knew. Had to replace the starter, one. Had to get the intake manifold off, two. So I start scattering it. Man, it took me 3 days, right? 3 days on something that would have took somebody else a few hours.
Yeah.
But when I got it all put back together, it started and it ran, and there wasn't no problem. So through the years, Jack taught me a lot. He that's probably where my career in being a mechanic started, like professionally. But I used to train guys, and they would say, "Man, you're such a good mechanic. You're so talented. How do you?" And I go, "No, it ain't that I'm talented. It's that I was gifted with this ability that I don't give up. There's no the word can't is not in my vocabulary. Never has been since I was a little kid. If that was in my vocabulary, I would be like like the minions, or how they go my it would just be can't.
Yeah.
But it ain't my vocabulary, dude. I don't have time for can't, because you got to keep going.
Yeah.
And I didn't really consciously learn that when I was young. It's just something I did off of like instinct. I was instinctually surviving. Um, I took care of my everybody. They say, "Oh, you took care of your dad," and me and my dad, when he would meet girls, he was a womanizer, right? So we had this thing that he was actually the son and I was the dad, and we were from a planet called Planet Z-Bob. And in Planet Z-Bob, it's backwards, where the young looking is the dad and the old is the son. And he would run that game on all these chicks, and because it was funny. But that's really how it was in our household. I was the one that like, I would tell him, "No, Dad, we can't do that," he would just run rampant. So everything was very backwards. The whole growing up. Um,
So we're like, okay, so if we drift through high school here, we get into the end of high school, right? We're
yeah.
working, we got enough to eat, whatever. How did you feel about moving out and leaving your brother there?
Uh, that was rough, because through high school, my dad's addiction got worse. Um,
Addiction to what?
Well, he was doing cocaine. He smoked probably an ounce of marijuana a day. I mean, everything, crank, like all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was never really an alcoholic, though.
Mm-hmm.
That which was weird. Usually when you hit like the trifecta, but he was more like hard drugs,
Mm-hmm.
and marijuana were like his cigarettes. Like he
Yeah.
would he would roll up a bunch of joints and put them in a cigarette pack, and then he'd have his cigarettes, his joints for the day, and he would just all day long. He was like an animal. So through high school, his addiction to like cocaine got a lot worse. So I was 17. I wasn't done with high school. My I was very smart. Everybody, I was very smart. But when I was my junior year of high school, I was no closer to graduating than I was my freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, high school was just a meeting place to figure out where the parties were.
Mm-hmm.
I started running off the course in high school.
Yeah.
So 17, I
Well, there
couldn't take it
wasn't a
any.
course to run on.
Yeah,
You had
yeah,
no course. What I mean, damn it, man. What's your dad supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
God dang it. Like, you didn't have a chance. What do you
yeah.
mean? Like, there's no chance there. It's crazy. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So his addiction got really bad to where him and me, we started butting heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 17. I'm wanting to go out and do my thing with my friends. He's wanting me to do he's like, "You're not taking care of the house anymore."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Dude, I'm done with that. I'm going to do my thing." So 17, I drop out of high school, and my two best friends in the world, they were twin brothers, or they still are, but yeah. So they had moved to Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
Their mom took them to Reno, Nevada. I'm 17. I drop out of high school. I'm like, "Hey, deuces, I'm out." I'm going to Reno. So I had a truck. I sold my truck to my uncle, and we had made a deal on how much. So he gave me a chunk of the money. I said, okay, this is enough for me to get on the Greyhound bus and go to Reno, and I'm away from all this madness.
Yeah.
And I was still pretty naive. I thought my brother would be okay. I'm like, I went through it. My brother will be fine, you know? And so I bounced. That my uncle was supposed to send me the rest of the money for the truck, you know, here and there. So I get to Reno. I show up there with a skateboard in one arm, duffel bag full of clothes in the other arm, and got a job like in a week. Started working. Um, you know, we got our own place, got us an apartment, partying. We would party from the time we got off of work until about 10 minutes before we had to be at work. Go to work, work all day, and then do it, you know, like I
Yep.
just started down that crazy wormhole.
Mm-hmm.
Well, come to find out, the truck that I had sold, my dad ran some kind of game on my uncle and traded him like a beat up old motorhome for the rest of the money that he owed me or some crap like that. So I got screwed out of that. Um, whoops. It gave me some kind of notification about using hand gestures. I
Oh.
do that a lot. I talk with my hands.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But so I'm in Reno, and I stayed in Reno for about 3.5, 4 years. I got really into street racing out there,
Mm-hmm.
and partying, street racing, doing all the bad stuff, about all the stories my dad used to tell. Right, what we always try to outdo those stories. So I get locked up. I go to jail, Washoe County Jail. Did 93 days in Washoe County Jail, and when I got out, I called. So at some point in this story that we're glazing over, my dad had married this woman named Chris, and they were together for a few years, and she became my mom
Mm-hmm.
because you know I hadn't seen my biological mom in so long. Oh man, we were glazed over a lot. So let's backtrack.
Okay.
When my brother came to live with us, when CPS came and found me in school,
Yeah.
a short while later, uh, they had we had found out that my mom had, ever since they took my brother from my mom, my biological mom, it had been a couple years, and they found out that she had been a Jane Doe. She had passed away, got ran over by a drunk driver in Midland, Texas.
In Texas.
So she was in California. They took my brother, and she tried to go back to Arkansas where my grandma was. So she was hitchhiking from California to Arkansas. She made it to Midland, Texas. She was on the side of the road hitchhiking, and a guy driving a pickup. She was about 110 pounds soaking wet. The guy driving a pickup, drunk, reached down in the passenger floorboard to grab a spit cup and ran over on the side of the highway. I think it was like
What?
Highway 60 or something like that. So for about 3 or 4 years, she was a Jane Doe. Nobody knew where she was. Nobody knew her name. She didn't have any identification on her. And there was a detective back there that he didn't give up, and he was looking for who she was. Well, in I think it was like right before I left to go to Reno, we found out that my mom had passed away, and you know had been killed.
And you hadn't seen her since you were 6 years old.
I hadn't seen her since we left Arkansas.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So
What?
my dad sees that as another way to try to grab some money. So he starts trying to figure out somebody to sue. And I'm like,
Man, your dad's a champ.
oh
Gosh,
yeah.
dang it,
My
man.
my my fiance now, she has she I didn't realize it, but she has the perfect name for him. He's a monster.
He's a
The
monster.
the guy's a monster. And It just there's no other way to describe him. He's a monster. There's something broken inside that man that he just he's a monster.
Mm,
So
that's
fast forward,
wild.
yeah, and I was I know I seem like I'm pretty okay about it now, um, but I wasn't back then. Man,
No.
I wanted to fight everybody that walked. Um, I didn't trust a single person. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't trust myself. Like I didn't. I was like a rabid dog. You just yeah, I couldn't. It was all about partying and trying to run away from the hurt.
Yeah.
And that's where your show comes in, man. It's like we all have this hurt, um, and it had hurt so bad for so long that I just became numb to it. I didn't even know it was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not knowing that breathing is breathing. It just I was so ignorant, um, and I you know coming out of high school, went to Reno, got locked up, did 93 days in county jail. Came out and I called my stepmom and I'm like, Mom, I need some money for a bus ticket. I want to come back home to California. And she goes, Well, you're in jail. I said, No, I just got out of jail. She said, Well, I'm not going to send you any money. And my mom was probably one of the first good parental figures in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I'll send you a bus ticket. And at this time, you couldn't do it like how we get a QR code now and you go to the bus station.
Yeah.
She sent a paper bus ticket. And I'm like, Mom, I have no address. I don't, there's nowhere for me to get this bus ticket. She's like, Well, find somewhere because I'm not sending you any money.
Mm.
So I found somewhere. She sent me the bus ticket. I waited like 5 days for this bus ticket. Skateboard in one hand, duffel bag in the other, just like I went to Reno. I left the same way. And ticket comes. I go back and I live with my stepmom and her new husband.
Okay. So she divorced your dad.
Yeah. She divorced my
Wow.
dad, but we had, I ever since her and I had known each other, she had called me son.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a great, great woman. She just passed away last week.
Gosh.
But so I go back and I live with her and her new husband. Her new husband apparently used to run around with my dad back in the day, and they didn't like each other, but gives me a place to live, man. And
Mm.
got me a job, got me a car, like helped me get back on my feet.
And you're
And
what, 19, 18?
yeah, I think I was 20, I think I was 21. I was
Mm-hmm.
21 when I come back. And like I said, we're skipping over a little bit because otherwise we'll be here all damn day and we'll have to get lunch and we'll all kinds of things.
Dude, this is nuts. Okay, so we're 21. We moved. And all right, so Chris, I'll tell you, man, this is the way I look at things. I always try to find where Jesus is hunting in these stories. And I can I can pinpoint moments in my own life where I was living not the way I needed to live, where Christ was like, I mean, hunting me. And little moments in time where people interjected wisdom or truth or kindness when it wasn't deserved. And it was like, that's Christ was hunting my heart through
Yeah,
this time. And this is the first part of the story where I've heard that. This guy who didn't like your dad, this woman who married this crazy ass dude and then got divorced, and then you call and they act like Christ. Whether they knew Christ or not, That's
Yeah.
how I imagine the conversation would go. And even to the point of I'm not going to send you money, but I'll bring you home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to give you what you need to get to where you need to be, but I'm not going to make the mistake that I would have made with your dad, maybe, or whatever.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And so that's super interesting. All right, so we're working. We're 21. Where's your brother? Still with your dad?
Yeah. Still with my dad.
Jeez, Nettie.
Still with my dad. So I come back and I'm back. I make the decision that I'm gonna get away from all that craziness, and I'm gonna start trying to live my life right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I still mess up a whole bunch. I did a bunch of stuff I shouldn't have, but I got back on my feet, and my brother's still with my dad. I meet my son's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had known each other through high school, but we run back into each other. So I was working at the Home Depot,
Mm-hmm.
and her and I run into each other one day, and I had tried to date her all through high school, and she never wanted to date me.
Mm-hmm.
And one night we run into each other. I'm closing down at the Home Depot, and she goes, "Hey, we haven't seen each other in forever." She's like, "You want to go hang out?" So we start hanging out, and from we're about 3 hours from the coast. Like
Okay.
so we hadn't seen each other in years.
Mm-hmm.
We see each other one night, and we said, "Okay, we're gonna hang out." Well, we left. We were talking. We left, and we go to the coast, and we spend the night at the coast. Like we hadn't seen each other in years, and we're in the car going to the coast. Well, from that moment on, like we had jumped in together, and her and I started living together.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, here comes my son. And while she was pregnant with my son, I get a phone call from Tulare County Sheriff's Department. And they
This is a
say,
theme in your life. This is
yeah,
a theme.
yeah,
Like random police phone calls. It's
yeah.
like I would be expecting it by this time. It's like, God dang it, this guy. Every couple of years, it's like something's around the corner here.
So the Tulare County Sheriff's Department calls and they say, "Hey, your dad is Wayne Rutledge." I said, "Yeah." You have a brother named William
Classic.
Rutledge. I said, "Yeah." And they say, "Well, your dad was arrested." And my brother was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Says, "Your dad was arrested. We need you to come get your brother." And I'm like, I'm 24
Mm-hmm.
at this point. And I'm like, "Come get my brother." So I'm like trying to figure out what's going on. I haul ass. I go over there, and they tell me that my dad was arrested. He had molested his girlfriend's two daughters, which were 16 and 17.
Mm.
And my brother, which was 16, was living outside in like a tent in the backyard because my dad had put his girlfriend's two daughters in my brother's room. It had gotten really bad to the point where I wasn't going over and seeing them. They were like a town over. They were about 30 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was arrested for molesting these two kids. They had went to high school and told their counselor that my dad had been molesting them. And the first thing I thought was like, man, he finally did it. He finally did. Like I knew he had done it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. I was like, he's dirty old man. Like he did it. Like I just knew it. So I was furious when I was sitting there and they were telling me. And so I grabbed my brother up. I said, "Willie, get your clothes, get whatever." And like he's getting like putting clothes in a trash bag. And I'm like, "Dude, all these clothes are trash. Where's your good stuff? Like grab stuff that you'd wear to school." He's like, "This is it." I'm like, "Okay, get your toothbrush, man." He's like, "I don't have a toothbrush."
God
I'm like,
almighty.
so I'm like, "Dude, what the hell?" And Like his shoe, I told him, I said, throw all your clothes away, dude. Throw, just come on, let's go. Get in the truck, let's go. So we jam, we go back to the house. I get him set up with my girlfriend at the time. We weren't married, but we're set up there. And I went and got my dad's truck. My dad had got this truck. It was a pretty nice truck at the time. So I went and sold the damn thing. And all the money, I went and bought my brother clothes, and I bought him toothbrush. I mean, I set him up. But so my dad did like a year and a half in jail. He got out, but I haven't really. I tried to kind of get back and forgive my dad. You know, this was all before I came to follow Christ. I was trying to do it on my own.
You tried to forgive him before you knew Christ?
Yeah,
Wow.
because he was my dad. You
Oh,
know, he
yeah.
he he at one point he was Superman. Like he could do no wrong.
Yeah.
But through all the years, I was like, man, if I don't have him, I don't have nobody. But I had all these people that I was looking past, you know, all the people that had helped me through the years. My mom, my stepmom, she wasn't the only one that tried to help me. My uncle Tracy helped me. And these were my dad's friends.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle Tracy, my uncle Donnie, they kept us fed. They went and fed my brother when I was gone, and it was just a mess, man. I mean, if you can imagine, if you're watching this right now and you can imagine all the things I'm not talking about,
Oh, dear mother.
like like imagine the cracks in a wall and they're just slathered with all the crud that I'm not talking about. Um, but it was a lot, and so
Here.
come to the point where I have my brother. We're trying to get him set up, and then one day my brother, he's about 18 now, and he says, hey, I want to go and visit my friends in Farmersville. I said, okay, get your chores done and you can go visit your friends in Farmersville. I'd got him a car. I'd got him, you know, I was trying to be a dad to him.
Mm-hmm.
And which I didn't even know how to do that. So I was trying to be a dad to him. I told him, I said, once you get all your chores done, you can go visit your friends in Farmersville. So I get home from work and he's gone. All the chores aren't done. So I call him up and I say, hey, man, get your little behind back over here. You didn't do your chores like you said you would. And he says, well, I'm already in Farmersville, which is like 30 minutes away. And he says, well, no, I'm already here. I said, well, no, come on back. When you get your chores done, you can go. So he comes back, gets his chores done. He goes, never comes back home. He said, I'm 18. I talked to him the next couple days. He says, I'm 18. He says, I'm not going to live with you anymore. So he started living with his friends. You know, bless them. They took care of him. To this day, he's 30 something. He still lives with them. Yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah. He never ran past that. But he blamed me for leaving when I dropped out of high school and I left. He blamed me for everything that happened while I was gone in Reno with my dad, with, you know, the way my dad did everything that he did. And he holds a grudge about all that.
Mm-hmm.
But he had it just as rough as I did, living on the streets with my mom and stuff like that. So to this day, he and I only talk about maybe once every couple years. Just there's a whole lot of pain in there. Well, about fast forward, my son starts hanging out with this group called Crew Crew 180. I was always into BMX. My son got really into BMX, and it's ran by a man named Rick. Sorry, I'm trying to. So ran by by a man named Rick, and I didn't really understand what it was when he first started going.
Mm-hmm.
And he would spend a lot of time over there doing Bible study on Saturday nights and stuff. And I didn't know it was Bible study. I
Your
thought they were
son?
just my son. So he starts, I didn't know it was Bible study. I thought they were just hanging out. So
I
I
really
kind of,
thought this was about to take a bad turn, buddy. Like I was
no,
like, oh God,
no,
not the
this is,
son. Not the son.
this is where it turns around. So my son kind of, he had started down my path a little bit, not bad at all, a little bit, but he got into BMX. He started going and doing this, and I didn't really understand what Crew 180 was. And I thought they were just hanging out on Saturday nights
Mm-hmm.
and Wednesday nights, just doing like hanging out. Well, so I was kind of resisting it a little bit, and then finally I went over and I met the man. And the man, I don't know if you've ever heard of SE bikes. So like
Mm-mm.
Big Ripper, a guy named Todd Lyons, like this guy has the biggest collection of SE bikes in the United States.
Hmm.
Like he has C trains full of SE bikes. His shop is all got bikes hanging from the ceiling. So this is a very godly man. And he's been all over the world, Africa, everything else, ministering, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go and I start hanging out, and Rick and I start creating this friendship. And he tells me one day, he's like, where are you at with God? Like what is your, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know that the man exists. I don't know. I don't know that, because through all the years, I used to call myself an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized I'm not really an atheist. I'm more agnostic. I just didn't believe that anything existed. And
Mm-hmm.
I said the same thing that everybody who tries to fight it says. Well, if God exists, why does he allow little babies to die, and why does he allow people to hurt?
Mm-hmm.
And so I said the same thing. Well, I start hanging out and going, and I attend a couple of the Bible studies and stuff, and I'm 40 years old now, and I had done this life thing in the world my whole life on my own. I mean, my dad was there, but he wasn't really there.
Yeah.
I had had the weight of the world on my shoulders for 40 years, and through this, through my son bringing me to this youth ministry, I ended up coming to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I sat down one day at the gym, and I said, I'm going to try, and I was upset. I was tired. I was really just beat down, and I'd been carrying it all on my shoulders for 40 years. And I said, I'm going to try this prayer thing. And so I'm at the preacher curls doing curls, right? And in front of me, there's all the treadmills and stuff. Well, I prayed, and I prayed to the Lord that he just show me something to put me on the right path, to make it all easier, to fix my life, basically. And I mean, I got tears running down my face. And this woman gets off of a treadmill, walks over in front of me, and she looks up at the TV. Well, she had long hair, and it covered about half of the writing on her shirt. And the writing that I could see, it said, "Just don't give up." And she turned around. It's about the time I got done reading it. She turned around and she walked off. There was no reason for her to stop in front of me. But when I prayed, God put that woman in front of me to see those words.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, I was a Christian. I so many things came into me to make me know that he's real, that he died on the cross for our sins, that there is salvation through him. There's some, so that's when my life, so it was about January of this year.
Really?
This December, January.
Mm-hmm.
Through that moment on, everything's has only gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
you know, my life was like a yo-yo, man. It up and down, up and down. From January till now, nothing has gotten worse in a sense where I can say it's gotten worse. It's only gotten better. My heart's healing. Um, you know, I've actually been helping out, teaching ministry. I did done a testimony for the kids, and you know, I've taught Bible study a couple times when Rick would go out of town, and the kids really dig it, and they like how I do it. You know. Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit. It's kind of,
Man, I'm telling you, buddy. So your girlfriend now, is she a believer?
uh, so she is. She so she went to church, and she had her own pathway with Christ. And her and I talk about it. We don't go to church together or anything. Um, we kind of keep that separate because the church she went to, I don't know the whole story, but she learned a lot, and she'll kind of mentor me on some stuff about it. But she our paths don't quite line up on Christ yet. You know, she has her belief system on it, and she's Christian, and she's come to Christ long before I did.
What
I
is it, a denomination deal? Like what?
No, it's just because like I'm non-denomination. She was non-denomination, but I think it was the way she was taught at the church and the way I'm being taught. She doesn't quite understand. You know, we have a lot of like born again. Um, what do you call? You know, like the church I go to, dude, is a lot of folks that came to Christ through prison and stuff like that. That they're very raw, you know. And she went to a church that was, you know, you go into church in your best Sunday dress, and everybody's wearing a suit. Man, we go in work clothes. You know, it's and there's nothing wrong with either one of them. I just want to make that clear. But it just it's very different. You know, our pastor, um, he owns a roofing company. He's, you know, blue collar, and I had went to a couple churches when I realized like, hey, I want to start trying to go to church.
Yeah.
And I went to a couple by myself, went in, sat down, sat through the whole sermon, and I'm like, this just ain't for me.
Yep.
I'm not feeling this. This ain't for me. Left, went to another one. Yeah, this is kind of weird. Like they're talking about some stuff I don't really know what they're talking about. So my buddy Rick, I'm sitting here one morning having coffee, and he says, "Hey, you were talking to me about going to a church. I found this church with this guy I used to know, and he bought this church and he started his own church. Would you think you'd want to go?" And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, whatever. And he's like, yeah, it's in about 10 minutes. So if you want to go, let's go. And I'm sitting there, dude. I'm like having coffee, just waking up, just like how I got on here with you. And like I'm sitting in my underwear, and he goes, "If you want to go, it's in about 10 minutes." So I'm like, "Okay." Something came over me. I go, "Yeah, man, come pick me up."
Yeah.
So I threw some pants on. He says, "Don't." He says, "Dress casual." Says, "Don't get all fancied up or nothing." He says, "You'll be the only one." So I went in a snap-on hoodie and a pair of pants, you know, Vans, this hat. We went to church, man, and I've been going ever since. They're just, they say they're the friendliest church. It's called the Move of God Ministry, and they say they're the friendliest church in Porterville. And there's a bunch of churches here, but I'll tell you what, it's everybody is from all different walks of life. They just all love Jesus Christ, and from the first day I was there, they all acted like they knew me my whole life. And
That's called in my world. That's called a cowboy church.
gotcha. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's absolutely
Just
what this is.
straight grassroots. Like you show up after cutting bulls, and it's not a. That's a. I'm not a church guy, man. I don't know if you've listened to the other episodes about that. You know, I truly believe that God designed me to walk into the world. It's taken them 30 something years to get me to a point to where the world isn't necessarily doesn't affect me as far as being in it. But I have a lot of respect for a ranch horse and what we ask those horses to do, and I feel like that's what I'm designed to be for God. I'm not polished, I'm not proper, I'm not any of that. I am just me, and you know, the heart for a guy that I can understand from my own experiences why people hate Christians and why they don't like to be around them. And that's the last thing on earth I want to be, you know, and I don't think people who have experienced true brutal suffering relate to fabricated suffering in a church house, you know. I've read books, man, where guys like pastors have wrote books, and you know, like I picked it. My buddy sent me this book one time, and it was supposed to be on. I don't even remember what it was supposed to be on. I made it through the first page and was like, I can't read this. And he was talking about suffering, and he was telling this story about him. And he's the lead pastor, and all the associate pastors of the church on like Tuesdays or something would play hide and seek in the office. And one of his coworkers got locked in this closet for an extended period of time. And that was his example of suffering. And I was like, what is this shit? Like, get out of here, dude. Like, what is this? Grown men playing. I just put that threw the book away. I was like, I can't read this. And so the cookie cutter image of Christ that's portrayed in the church, I have such a hard time with this, because my route to knowing the King came in a way of him showing me his true self as far as what kind of man he was. And I always thought that Christ like did it perfect back then, but nowadays there was no way, you know what I mean? And he was too nice. The way they preached the guy, he was too kind. He was too nice. And once I actually read the Gospels, the story of Jesus, and learned not from the perspective of what he did, but from the perspective of who he was. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dude, this is a man worth following. This is a man worth striving to be like, you know? So I get it. I get going in. I've tried many times to go sit in the church, and I've kind of felt God calling me a little bit to that, and kind of came to the conclusion. I started a little small group here at the Rope Shop on Tuesday nights. There's like 7 guys that come, and we sit, and it's not really a Bible study. We do read, you know, we talk about the Bible, but it's more just sharing hearts and burdens as far as manhood goes, and husbandry and fatherhood. And
that's kind of how we do it too. You know, and it's like I told my old lady, I say, you know, it ain't we read out of the Bible. We try to understand stuff in the Bible, because man, it's deep, you know, like there's a lot of parables and stuff like that you can read the Bible and interpret it one way, and then once somebody explains the parable to you or something, you take it a totally different way. But we do that, and then we also, you know, like you guys do, we talk about the things that brought us to Christ, the things
suffering.
the suffering. I mean, and it's definitely different to think about it as suffering, because I tried not to think about it as suffering. I just I just thought about it as life. Like, this is just what life is, because I never knew any different. They're like, oh, well, you suffered a lot. Well, no, I just live life a lot. What do you mean? But now, like, yeah, it's suffering, you know?
Yeah, no question. And what's crazy, man, this is what's crazy. And it pains me to even say this, but this is the design, I guess. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And, we named our company 310 Ranch Life when we started it. And this was my dad's favorite verse, and it says, "For my determined purpose is to come to know the King and share in his sufferings in order to be transformed into his likeness."
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's roll it back. Our purpose is to know God and suffer, right? And that's the whole point of the podcast, is like, once you have the purpose, the suffering is good. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like the gym or anything else. It's like, once you know why, there's a purpose for the
Yeah.
suffering. And I cannot freaking believe that story, the conclusion that we came to in that was your son found the King. That's freaking nuts, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that's wild. That's such a cool thing, because you spent all those years of your life taking care of your dad, inadvertently showing Christ-like qualities when you didn't even know what that was. Like, that didn't
Yeah.
even exist in your brain.
Yeah.
You're just like, I just want to be a good dude, and I love this guy.
Yeah.
Regardless, even though he's a total POS, like, I'm going to love him anyway. And somehow or another, your kid does the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's amazing.
It's unbelievable. It's a really cool, it's a really terrible story, but it's a really good story in the fact that, like, and I can't believe you even tried to forgive your dad without knowing Christ first. Like, typically you meet Christ and you're like, okay, I gotta wash some of this garbage out of me, and that's pretty amazing, really. As far as like, where did you even draw your ability to be a dad? Like, when your kid's coming up, what are you doing to try to be a good dad?
So that's easy. I did everything the exact opposite of what my dad did. 100%.
It worked. That was a good move.
I mean, if my dad would have turned left on this road, I turned right.
Yeah.
That's that's it. I remember growing up, my dad never hugged me. My dad never told me he was proud of me. So what did I do? I hugged my son. I told him I was proud of him. My dad never went to anything I had going on. Like, if I said I was going to do this, like, I wanted to wrestle. And he says, "You're not big enough. You can't wrestle. You're not big enough. You're not strong enough." So my son said, "Dad, I want to wrestle." I said, "Let's go.
Yeah.
I'll be there." I mean, my son has wrestled. He's done jujitsu. He's done karate. My son has played football. And he's done it all. And everything I always say, "Okay, let's do it, man. You can do it."
Man, that's freaking awesome.
And in turn, like, I've always had the dream of opening my own shop. But I've always had this thing in my head that I'm like, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other night, me and my son were talking, and he goes, "Dad," he says, "I think you can open your own shop."
Golly.
And I'm like, it's crazy, man. But all my life, I look back at it now, and I didn't realize it, but the Lord has been pulling at me. The Lord has saved me. I mean, first of all, my name is Christopher. Like, that's my God-given name. Christopher is Christ bearer or Christ follower, right? So then I raced dirt track, circle track for a while, and my car number was 66.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew anything other than the number 66. Everybody said it was bad luck to have 66 on your car. And so I said, well, I'll show them. I'll have 66. Well, there's 66 books in the Bible. I mean, there's all sorts of little stuff like that throughout my entire life where, short of putting a gun in my mouth and pulling the trigger, I tried to kill myself probably 1 trillion times through, acting crazy. We bought a car one time. We bought this car from this young lady who didn't have the money to fix it. We bought the car and we were jumping it off of loading docks and wrecking it into poles on purpose. We were trying to kill ourselves. And all that time, the Lord was I've never even broken a bone. My entire life, I've never broken a bone. I've been in the hospital, but it was all for diabetic stuff. But the Lord pulled me out of it every single time, and I hadn't even been saved or like came to him. So I know God has a plan for me, and he's been grooming me through all this suffering my entire life. And I truly believe that he's brought me to this point now where he finally convicted me to come to him, to where I can help somebody else. So I'm young enough that a lot of these kids in the group, I can relate with them. I can tell them. We have one young man right now that's having problems with his parents. He actually showed up at my house at 10:30 last night trying to find somewhere to sleep. And I'm like, I'm at the point now where I can give these kids some wisdom. I can tell them it's going to be okay, and it's just really crazy how this life has turned out. My son asked me one time, he said, Dad, if God is real and everything, he says, why do little babies die? And I said, through my understanding, that little baby, when he dies, he just goes to heaven. That's, I mean, we're talking like a 1-year-old, right? They have no sin. The little baby dies and goes to heaven. But that death wasn't for the baby. That death could have been to bring the mom or the dad or the uncle or the sister. It could have been a hurdle in their life to try to bring them closer to the Lord. And that's the way you got to look at a lot of this. We're all put through trials and tribulations. The Lord wants warriors. The Lord doesn't want somebody who their AC is going to break in their car and they go, dang you, Lord, I forsake you. The Lord don't want that. He wants warriors, man. He wants people that are in the trenches who know this thing. And the Lord put me through the trenches because I'm a warrior for him. And that's the way I believe it these days.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly in that. And, my granddad was a marriage and family counselor for my whole life, and one thing he used to do with people is they'd come in for counseling, and the first thing he'd ask them to do is draw a picture of what God looks like. And typically, at least the way he explained it to me, was this would be a depiction of their earthly father.
Yeah.
And as I grew and as I had sons of my own and became a husband, I took the same approach as you. As I looked at my dad and I looked at my granddad and I looked at my great granddad on both sides. I looked at my wife's parents. I looked at every man around me and started hunting the opportunities. And all of these people that I'm discussing are good people.
Yeah.
Right? And every single one of them has made mistakes and could have done things differently and better. And so if you view your surroundings as opportunities to learn, to be better, you can get a lot. You can forego a lot of mistakes. But I had a guy, and this is something, I've been a believer for quite a while now. I would say I've been a follower of Christ for probably a decade now. Of course, I mean, growing up in the South, I was baptized when I was 13, and you say all the stuff, but you're not living it. You don't know it. And I had a guy last week. He said to me, he's like, I've been doing a lot of research on words. And he said, he said, you have to believe. And I said, okay, well, yeah, I believe. Sure. You know what? Yeah, that's what being a believer is. And he was like, no, 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 no. He's like, that's not what I'm saying. He's like, you have to believe what he says. You have to believe what he says about you. You have to believe what he says about the world, about the enemy. You have to believe it. And he's
Mhm.
a very animated guy, right? He's very like
Yeah.
a lot of emphasis. And
Yeah.
it kind of chewed on me a little bit because there's a lot of guilt and shame and things that I carry around in my life that are forgiven. And
Yeah.
there's this sense of me that's like they're not forgiven. I'm not good enough. I can't be what God asked me to be, you know, and it's because I'm not believing it. Like
Yeah.
he's saying it to me, but if I don't accept it, then and just listening to your story, the hurt and the pain and the regret, the things that you and the king will wrestle with through this, are going to be a slam dog fight, like maybe for the rest of your life. But I don't know. I just felt like I needed to say that to you. I felt like I needed to say believing what it actually says and not
Yeah.
believing what your father said,
Yeah.
because that's the thing about it is our earthly fathers are supposed to be a representation of Christ to us to
Mhm.
learn how to be in the world. And there's not a single one of us that doesn't fail in that regard. Some fail worse than others, but teaching our sons how to forgive, teaching our sons how to apologize, teaching our sons how to actually turn a loose of something is a very difficult thing. And I I don't know. I just that is an unbelievable story that God will use, my friend,
Yeah.
especially with your willingness to share. You know what I mean?
I believe it's what I've been called upon to do. So check this out. Here's a different way of looking at that. You said you really have to believe. I'd seen on I don't know if it was TikTok or Instagram or what it was, but there's this Rastafarian guy, and he says if you believe, he said believe is based on the slight chance that you may not believe.
Mm-hmm.
He says you can't believe, you have to know.
Hmm.
And I think that's what you're getting at. You can't just believe in something. You have to know. You
Mm-hmm.
have to know that it's like in here. It has to hit you in the chest that this is absolution. This is imperative. That this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you're absolutely right. You have to know it. There can't be any doubt.
Mm-hmm.
When all these old timers, they talk about, in church every week, they're like, well, you're only partially, and you're giving up half of this, and you I never really understood that they weren't talking about the idea. Like, when they're talking, I'm thinking that all these people are thinking about leaving God, right? It's not that. And I caught myself doing this. I would pray and I'd go, okay, Father God, come down and help me with this. And then I'd kind of find myself, without knowing it, I'd be like, are you just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but you can't do that. You
Mm-hmm.
you have to pray it, and then you have to let it be and know he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
That's what a true believer, a true, that what they talk about, um faith, right? That's what true faith is. That once you pray it, or once whatever it is, that it's going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference between believing and believing,
Mm-hmm.
or believing and knowing.
The
And I
emphasis of the
struggle with it.
word.
And I struggle with it. I do, because I'm still real new to it, and I've lived my entire life I used to tell my son all the time. I say, man, you can't trust anybody in the world but you. Nobody's coming to save you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's coming to save you but you. And sometimes you can even let yourself down.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel a lot different now. I feel the one person you can trust is not in the world. He's in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So
The king.
the
Man,
king.
that's incredible. Man, that's
Man,
cool.
there's a lot that we glazed over, but like I said, it would probably take, man, it would take all day and then a couple days more to even understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of hurt, but I mean, I just want everybody to know that watches this and sees that, you know, you're not alone. Everybody in this world goes through pain and suffering. There's times where, you know, I thought about suicide, or I thought that I wasn't good enough. I thought that I wasn't meant to be anything. That's all the things that the devil are putting inside of you, because the devil wants you to go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
The devil don't want you to go to heaven. The devil's out here. The devil. You ever heard of Derek Prince?
No, I don't think so.
So look up, when you get some time. Look up Derek Prince Ministries.
Okay.
This man, when he was very young, his IQ was like top level. He knew Greek. He knew all the old languages when he was very young, and he was so ahead of his time that he would go to preach, and people wouldn't understand what he was talking about, because it was like, you know, up here above.
Mm-hmm.
So he dedicated his life to making the word understandable. And so if there's an app, if you have an iPhone or whatever, it's called Derek Prince Ministries, and you can go to that app, and it's all his old. He was in World War II, but he has all these little short clippets. They're like 15 minutes, and he talks about the Bible. He talks about the Lord, and man, it's very understandable.
Huh.
You know, it, there's a lot of stuff in there that really make me understand when I'm reading through the book and I don't get it. He really brings it home. I forget where I was going with this, but he that's a good one to listen to, and that helps me out a lot.
Huh.
Uh,
I started reading the Bible the same way you train a horse. So you train a horse in little bite-sized pieces of the puzzle,
okay,
and then you always quit them in a good spot. Those are horsemanship principles. So you would break it down for them real easy to understand, and then once they kind of get it, once you kind of see it click, you quit them and you go do
okay,
something else.
gotcha.
So a couple of years ago, I started, what I would do with my Bible reading is I would just pick something and I'd go to reading it, and I would read until I got something, and then I'd quit.
Okay,
And I'd just chill on that one little part, because I mean, a lot of times, you know, back in the day, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to read John. Well, I mean, like 2 paragraphs in, I'm freaking over here. What's for lunch? You know,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
more lost than last year's Easter egg. And so I started reading it in real small, like, just get something, take it into the world and go, you know?
yeah.
Because I'm like, I mean, I can't understand that thing, man. Like, half the stuff in there, I'm like, what in the Sam Hill? Like, you go to reading the Old Testament, dude, there's some wild shit that went down back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, hundred
Like,
percent.
it's hard to get your mind around that.
So when I started reading it, I started reading King James version.
Oh, yeah, baby. Let's
and
go.
and and I'm like, this is thou if that if I'm like, man, I'm spending half the time reading, translating this thou that to, you know, he them they.
Yes.
Like I feel like I'm in some kind of transgender, like man, this ain't for me, you know. So then finally I switched. Oh, there's some of my political beliefs coming across. Then I came to, you know, I started reading. I got another Bible, NIV,
Mm-hmm.
and NIV is a lot easier to grab a hold of.
Yeah, that's what I
But
read too. I've
even
read
in
the
that,
Message. I've read some other stuff, but
how about Daily Bread? You've heard of Daily Bread?
no. What is
So
that?
it's a little. Hold on. Let me grab one. I'll show you real quick. So these, they're free. You go online and you sign up for them, and
Mm-hmm.
it's called Our Daily Bread.
Okay.
And this whole little book is 1 month, and it's got stories in it, and it's got scriptures at the bottom to go along with the story. They're good. It's Christian. It's nonprofit. There's no money, no nothing like that. And you can even go online and subscribe for a friend, so you can send one to your friend, and they get one every month in the mail. And it's just like this one's December to January. This
Okay.
is an old. But they, every one of them, they go like kind of like that, and it's Our Daily Bread Ministries. And
Okay.
they have an app on the phone too, which has the Bible in it. So like when I'm in church and they're man, I'm a mechanic, so I don't have fingerprints. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can't grab a page and flip it really fast. So like we'll be in Bible study and they'll say, okay, find Psalms 13:10, and I'm like,
Yeah. Right.
can't so I can go to it on my phone, and there's a Bible portion in the Our Daily Bread app,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just click on it, 13:10, boom boom, there you're there, and I got it. I beat everybody.
Right.
but this is another good one, Our Daily Bread. My fiance put me onto that one. She's like, she's been a real blessing to me through all this. She tried getting me to come to the Lord before my son did, and we never listened to our women as much as
No.
we probably should.
No, we don't. And they're right like most of the time.
Absolutely.
My wife says that all the time. She's like, "Gosh, I already told you to do that." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry."
And she's the one that sent these to me, so I have to give her credit for that if she sees this. But definitely she's awesome, and Our Daily Bread is awesome. Derek Prince Ministries is awesome. A lot of the friends that I've had over the years, I always thought that if I came to the Lord, that they would all make fun of me or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really talk to very many people anymore, man. I go to work, I come home, I go to the gym, I ride my Harley. Like I have a very small circle, but I started walking this way, and come to find out, all those people that I thought would make fun of me, they're all on the same path I am now too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's amazing. There's so many different, like I said, there's so many different ways that the Lord has shown me that I am on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
I know a guy that I would ask him, I'd say, when you pray, how do you know that what you're praying about is right? Or how do you know, like, and he's the type of guy, he said, well, Jesus would talk to me. And I'm thinking,
Whoa,
buddy,
Bill.
I,
Whoa, Bill.
I don't know about all that. Well, but for me, I see things,
Yeah.
right? And when I say I see things, I mean like that lady that walked in front of me and had that message on the back of her shirt.
Yeah.
That's how God talks to me.
See
And
that
God,
mine's music.
okay,
Like I literally, I'll get in the car and I'll hit shuffle on the old playlist. I'm like, all right, Lord, what are you telling me today? And
yeah,
then whatever song comes up is the word for the day. It's like, all right, we're gonna get in here and get after it. Um, and some of that looks like some of that secular music. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I hear you.
Like I like Peyton Parrish a lot, and you know who Peyton Parrish is?
Mm-mm.
He's like a metal guy. Um,
Okay,
and he did all these renditions of Disney songs, but like metal versions.
okay.
They're nasty. Like,
There's another guy named Leo Miracoli that does kind of the same thing. If you look him up, it's Frog Leap Studios, Leo Miracoli, and he does different renditions. And like what was that song? Uh, uh, there's a bunch of them that
mm-hmm,
he'll take and he'll turn them into like hard metal, because I'm
yeah,
a, I'm a, I'm a metal guy,
yeah,
So when you said that music for you, I'm like, like I had to start getting away from the music that I like, because I wasn't one to listen to the words. I was just
mm-hmm,
like, you'd hear somebody shredding the guitar, and I'm like, yes,
yeah.
like but
Yeah,
you
you
start
should
looking at the
go.
words.
You should listen to and just see if you might. It might not be hard enough for you, but let me see what it's called. He's got one. He does a lot of like um renditions of songs, and then he's got some like Viking music. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which,
Yeah, yeah,
like, if
yeah.
you're gonna be a freaking warrior, you know what I mean. Like, it's hard to get by
Yeah.
that. But he's got one called Lion.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The Lion of Judah. Or
Yes.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That one will get on you.
I've heard that one. That one's badass.
Yes. So you know, and there's little moments in time throughout my life that certain songs like pinpoint what was going on, and I can be listening to these songs like working or working out or whatever, and it'll immediately take me back to that moment, moment of submitting to Christ or relying on him. And it'll take me to a place of brokenness that it I don't know, it's just like a core memory for me.
Yeah.
There's a band called Need to Breathe, that is, like, probably, in my opinion, the best Christian band on earth. You know, some Christian music sucks. It's tough. It's hard. It's hard to get by it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Need to Breathe is solid as the day is long. And there's this song when my son was in the NICU. It's called "Forever on Your Side" by Need to Breathe. That like if I turn it on, we're crying. I mean, it's freaking, we're there. And but yeah. Anyways,
I've turned a lot of that old to like Christian music, like you said, it does suck. And I've turned a lot to like there's a lot of there's a band called Rare Breed.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're fantastic.
And so I really like it's like more rappy type stuff. To me, I like it more than a lot of the rock Christian. There, although there is a band, and I want to say it's War something, but they're very, very hardcore metal Christian.
Yeah.
And like it's the closest. It's like Coke Zero. You know what I mean? It's like Coke Zero. It's like it's not quite Coke, but it's right there.
It's really close. Have you listened to NF?
Yeah, NF is awesome.
He is awesome. Yeah. Boy, that dude's deep. Boy, he'll get you in your feels, man. You got to watch that guy. You can't just be turning him on anywhere. You know what I mean?
You got to be in the car by yourself. Otherwise, you're embarrassing yourself crying in front of everybody.
I'm not kidding, dude. I listen that song "Happy." I'm like, God, dog, son.
Yeah.
But I listen to him a bunch at the gym. Like, I listen to NF quite a bit. I like rap music for the gym. I like rock music for the car. I'll do rock at the gym too sometimes, but and then I listen to a lot of Christian music, but it's I don't know, a little different. I don't do country or I listen to like cowboy music. That's a little different. That's not like country, but yeah, I gotta really be in the mood.
I gotta know your definition.
Definition for what? Country music?
Yeah, baby, because out here in California, for me, you've got outlaw country, which is Waylon and Willie and all that. That's what we call outlaw country. Okay. I like that. I like the old twangy, but like Garth Brooks and stuff, I call that 90s country. I ain't into 90s country, man. To me, that's like there ain't nothing to get me to hit that next button. I get some 90s country. Yeah, gone.
No, mine's more like man, like when I say country, I'm talking about like the country where they're singing about drinking beer by the lake. Like, I don't like none of that. The old school stuff's okay, but I'm not like, if I'm going to listen to something that we would consider country nowadays, it would be cowboy music. So like Dave Stamey or Sturgill Simpson or
okay.
What's that dude's name?
Morgan,
that kind of
Morgan
stuff. Like
Morgan Wallen.
No, I don't listen to Morgan Wallen. No.
Okay.
What's that dude's name? Dadgummit, he works on a ranch. He is.
I know who you're talking about.
Now.
Joe Rogan did a thing on him, and
yes,
He works in like he works on a ranch, and then like 2 months out of the year he goes and records, and then he goes back to the ranch.
That dude's stuff is dirty. Like he is
Yeah.
a dirty man. Like with
Yes.
the things he can do with his voice are an incredible. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And hey, who the heck says no to going on Joe Rogan? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, what the heck, man? Like, are you
Right.
crazy? How cool would it be to sit and visit with Joe Rogan for 3 hours? You know?
Definitely, I'd do it.
Oh heck yeah, I'd do it. Are you serious? Like just for the to see the studio and all the things. Like he, I don't know. I really like the way Joe Rogan approaches his guests. Like
Same.
it's like he's a novice to everything. He just wants to learn all about it, and so it's really interesting to listen to them talk.
Well, in the Bible, the Lord says you should look at the word like a child. And I kind of think that's how Joe Rogan does it. He looks at it with that innocence of wanting to learn like a child.
Yes.
And if we could all do that about everything in the world, man, I think it would turn out a lot better.
I agree. I agree. Well, Chris, man, this has been. Let me get. Well, we'll do it off air. I don't want to get your number on the podcast because then you're going to get spammed.
Yeah.
But tell everybody where they can reach out to you if they want to reach out, and you know, if they are in a similar situation or have experienced the same things, and you feel like Chris can help you down the road, reach out to him, and because that's what this is all. That's the whole podcast is about, is sharing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. So the only way anybody could really get a hold of me, I mean, I'm not set up for something like that, but I am on Instagram, Chris Rutledge 66 on Instagram, and my stuff's all open. Like I don't have any kind of private anything on there. So Chris Rutledge 66 on Instagram.
Perfect. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Reach out to me at Dalton at 310 EDU. Chris, thank you so much for coming on, man. Your story was incredible. This might be the best podcast I've shot yet. That's wild. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Check out the artofsufferingpodcast.com. We got hats coming maybe. My wife's working on it. So y'all can check all that stuff out there, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, you bet, man.